Members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, embarked on a nationwide strike action on March the 23rd this year to protest against government's failure to honor an agreement it entered with the union in 2009. Since that strike was declared, both the government and ASUU have held at least 5 public meetings trying to resolve the impasse. The striking lecturers have a total of 8 demands, which includes the exclusion of its members from the government payroll system called IPIS, payment of universities' revitalization funds, payment of earned academic allowances, and payment of all withheld salaries of members. Some of the recent meetings with ASUU give reasons to believe that a long-awaited end to the strike is near.
Overall, we had very fruitful discussion, and we hope that in the coming days, the discussion should bear the desired fruits.
We believe that very soon we will conclude with our members and we'll get back to the ministry.
But these hopes have remained unrealized as the strike lingers on. From the far north to the south, all federal and some state universities remain closed to academic activities. The students who are now out of the classrooms are no doubt the ones bearing the brunt of this lingering industrial action.
Before now, we actually planned out that, okay, at this point, we should be done with school, and then we have all of this to do, and then this is the next step we need to take after school. But then at this point, everything has been halted because of the strike, and then we still are not sure of when they might have to call off the strike, and then we proceed with school, because all of the plans we had for school, life after school has been halted because of that. So it's not really been okay at all.
They say we are the youth of today and leaders of tomorrow. If truly we are leaders of tomorrow, then we don't have to be on strike and sitting down at home doing different kind of things. I believe the federal government can just assist us and just respond to what these our fathers and ASUU are demanding for, and just ask them to go back to class to save our life and to save our future.
But there are also some students who are making good use of the strike period. Naomi Chiroma, a 300-level mass communication student of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, is one of many undergraduates who are now taking some vocational courses while the strike lasts.
At first, I think it affected me badly because I was home throughout and then I wasn't doing anything. And then it was just like mentally I was decreasing instead of increasing. I was just home doing nothing. So I decided to enroll myself in a fashion academy, and then I've been here for 3 months now.
In everything that is negative, there's also a positive side aspect of it. And the positive aspect of it is that I started learning something, because before I got into school, I didn't have any handwork at hand. But presently now, I can make up, I can tie a tie, and I can also make hair now.
Cumulatively, ASUU has embarked on strike for at least 26 months in the last 10 years, beginning with the 5-month strike in 2010 to the current industrial action, which has entered its 9th month, the longest in recent times. The cost of these unending industrial actions on the country's educational system is huge and sometimes cannot be quantified. It contributes to the reason why annually many young Nigerians continue to seek admissions into universities abroad, and the more the system continues in this regard, the more parents are likely to consider other available options that can provide uninterrupted education for their children.
Well, let's discuss this issue further. And joining us live from our Abuja studio is a senior lecturer from the Nasarawa State University, Dr. Akiala Ishaku. Thank you for joining us on the News at 10 tonight.
Thank you, Melissa, for having me, and thank you, Nigerians, for tuning in.
All right, there's no doubt that this long-standing strike by university lecturers has impacted negatively on academic activities in our universities. How much of a setback do you think the system has suffered this period?
Actually, during this period of strike, it has impacted negatively. You can as well see that it has impacted from the micro perspective. Melissa, do you know how many businesses are closed down in various campuses and even host communities that these universities are cited? what beholds of an akara seller or a restaurant, a woman that owns a restaurant and depends on when university or the school is on section, and now for 8 months, these businesses are closed. What happened to even landlords that have houses for these students, and then the students are not more, and then the landlords also are waiting for the students to resume, and then so that they can be able to get resources for them. So it has impacted negatively even in terms of unemployment. So you can see that a lot of businesses around university communities are closed down for 8 months. This has also increased unemployment rate. You can as well see that it has also increased crime rate. A lot of students that are at home may have indulged in one way or the other, one crime activity or the other. You can also see it as the aftermath of the NSAS. You can see all the lootings around. When you trace that, you can begin to see that it is an impact of universities being on strike. What happens to also lecturers that have not received salary for 5, 6, 8 months? Do you think that that has not affected their social life? That has also affected a lot of budget, family budget, and it has also affected a lot of, family fronts. So it has affected also the psychological state of the students. A lot of students have been traumatized. So when you run a clinical psychology series test on these students for being at home for quite a longer period of time, you understand that a lot of them have undergone depression severally, because a lot of them, they are not used to staying back at home. So the impact is quite huge. What happens to the impact also to the economy? And so the impact is quite huge. And I think that we need to see to how government needs to be very sensitive to the plight of ASUU so that we can return back to classroom.
Dr. Ishaku, not also forgetting, especially the academic impact on the students, but I also want to ask you that in the series of consultations that have been ongoing, do you think that the students' interests have been top priority?
Absolutely, Melissa. The student interest has been on top priority of the ASUU list. Although I'm not speaking for ASUU, I'm speaking from my own personal point of view. Melissa, when you check our Nigerian university, we are graduating students that don't know how to write CV. We are graduating students that don't know how to write cover letter for employment. We are graduating students that don't even have email addresses. And so there is a huge disconnect when it comes to the industry and the academia in Nigeria. And I think that the revitalization of the university system in Nigeria will go a long way in bridging this gap, and so which is quite key. In the 21st century, Melin said we are getting contracts from China, and then we are building railroads, and all the engineers are coming from China. So what stops us from also engaging engineers back home in Nigeria? Do you also, so it is also part of the student interest. So we need to close the gap between the academia and the industry, and that has been the push for us in terms of revitalization of the university system. And I think that it is quite key. Research and development in every institution, in every country is quite key. And I was also expecting, I hope you know that in the ideal system, our university is supposed to be entrepreneurial in nature. They are supposed to become innovative hubs. If you look at the West, universities are declaring profits. You buy intellectual property, you do knowledge transfer. So what stops us from having a national policy that all multinational companies should also fund research? So I'm also looking at it from another angle, that we must also come up with a narrative on how we need to fund our university system. It must not also be on the government side alone. We can actually run a PPP arrangement in funding of our university. We can have national laws to compel companies, both local and international and multinational companies, to fund research.
Indeed.
So
we also hope
national policy that for every
we also hope that the strike is called off as soon as possible. We'd like to thank you. Wish we had more time. Thank you so much, Dr. Akiala Ishaku, who's a senior lecturer from the Nasarawa State University. Thank you for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you, Melissa, for having me.